Welcome back, night travelers, and to those just finding us, welcome. You've wandered into Dusk and Dreams. I'm Yarrow, but on Friday nights I let my alter ego, YLDragons, take wing and take the lead, your guide through the wilder side of night and the darker, half-lit places where memory, myth, and midnight all blur together. The fire's burning low, a small island of warmth in the quiet room. The streets outside are slick with rain and silence. And somewhere, just beyond the reach of that lamplight, there's a story. Urban legends, the whispered warnings, the my friend of a friend swears this happened tales that move through city blocks like a cold wind through alleyways. Some are old myths in new clothes. Some are born from tragedy and sharpened by our fear. And some, well, some make you want to check your locks before bed. So tonight, we're going to walk those late-night streets and explore why these stories stick in our minds, how the night itself amplifies fear, and what these modern myths reveal about our hidden anxieties. But first, let me tell you about one of the most enduring and unsettling tales of all. You're driving home late. The road is empty, except for the glow of your headlights carving 2 tunnels through the deep dark. It's cold enough that your breath fogs the windshield, and then you see her. A young woman, standing alone at the roadside, pale in the high beams. She's wearing a dress that looks like it belongs to another decade, the fabric thin, the style forgotten by time. She's chilled, wet from the rain, and obviously shivering as she clutches what little wrap she has around her, desperate for warmth. So you pull over, because of course you do. There's a powerful human pull to help, a primal instinct that you simply couldn't resist. She thanks you in a voice so quiet it almost gets lost in the hum of the engine. She says she lives nearby, gives you a very specific address. But when you finally pull up to the house and look over to your passenger seat, it's empty. The door never opened. Your car never stopped mid-trip. She's just gone. You sit there, hands frozen on the steering wheel, a cold dread creeping into your bones. But still, you get out. You approach the front door and knock. An older woman answers when you do, her eyes tired but kind, and she tells you her daughter died on that very road years ago. And you are not the first to have tried to bring her home. There's a reason you've likely heard a version of the Vanishing Hitchhiker story before, even if you've never set foot in that town or met anyone who swears it happened to them. These tales are ultimate shapeshifters. They slip between cultures and across continents, swapping outfits and street names, but keeping the same chilling core. In Japan, it might be a ghostly woman in a traditional white kimono, clutching a single, faded umbrella. In Mexico, it's La Llorona, who weeps by the roadside for her lost children, her spectral form haunting the night. In rural Appalachia, it's a coal miner still trying to get home to his family, a story tied to a specific bend in a dark mountain road. Anthropologists call them migratory legends, stories that travel faster than the people telling them, taking route wherever there's a dark road and a lonely driver. But from a neuroscientific perspective, we would call them sticky narratives, tales that hook directly into our survival wiring. Why? Because at their heart, they carry 3 key ingredients that our brains find impossible to ignore. Unfinished business, a life cut short, a wrong left unrighted, a loved one waiting. Familiar settings, a road, a park, a subway station, places you know, places you could be right now. The interruption of the ordinary, that single moment when reality tilts and your brain's primal voice whispers, "This shouldn't be happening." The brain loves patterns, and it's absolutely captivated by breaking them. When something feels fundamentally off, our amygdala, that almond-shaped alarm bell deep in our limbic system, lights up instantly. Even if we rationally tell ourselves the story is fiction, our body responds as though it's very real. A little more adrenaline, a quickened heartbeat, the faintest shift in your breath. That's not a choice. It's a survival mechanism kicking in. That's why the best urban legends aren't the most elaborate. They're the ones that make you side-eye your surroundings on the walk to your car. The ones you can truly imagine happening here. Now. To you. And that, my friends, is where we're headed next. But a warning before we go there. The next section of tonight's show takes us further into the recesses of the city at night, where the stories aren't just eerie, they're sharp-edged, dark, and deeply mysterious. Some come from history, some from modern rumor, and some from that strange in-between where truth and fiction tangle together so tightly you can't tell the difference. So, pour yourself something warm, and I'll grab an umbrella. Looks like it's raining a bit here. And know that once we step into these streets, there's no guarantee we'll leave them unchanged. Our cities might be built on steel and concrete now, but their shadows still remember the forest. The myths we think of as ancient didn't vanish. They simply put on new clothes, took up new addresses, and now whisper their old lines through the neon haze. And if you've ever wondered why such stories burrow into your head long after you've heard them, that's not just drama. That's profound biology. When we feel fear in the night, the amygdala surges with activity. It sharpens our senses, burns details into memory, and keeps us alert to patterns, just like it did for our ancestors scanning the tree line for movement. It's why one eerie story can echo in your head for years, replaying in perfect clarity, waiting for a similar shadow or sound to bring it roaring back. The air is cold tonight and the streetlights hum. And look there. Do you see him? Standing perfectly still at the corner, just beyond the reach of the lamplight. Dressed in a suit that's too cheap to be elegant, his hands are tucked into his pockets. He isn't moving. He isn't doing anything at all. Except for one thing. He's smiling. A perfect, unsettling smile that stretches a little too wide and lingers a little too long. It's the one thing you can't look away from. We tell this story in our modern world and call him the smiling man. But did you know he's older than electricity itself? In ancient Rome, certain masked festival dancers were believed to channel the Gelos demon, laughter spirits said to drive people to madness with their unsettling grins. The masks they wore always exaggerated the smile, stretching it into a disquieting grimace. It was the terrifying idea of profound merriment turned inside out, a joy so complete it became a pure, cold menace. Today's smiling man still works on that same primal fear. There's a powerful mismatch that occurs deep in your mind. Your brain spots a human form, but instantly registers something fundamentally wrong with it. The stillness is unnatural. The silence is too perfect. And that smile is too symmetrical. That jarring dissonance floods your senses with the same primal signals that once told our ancestors, that's not what it appears to be. Do not get closer. The myth remains, but now it waits for you on a late-night lamplit street corner, its grin a mirror of what happens when the human form goes wrong. Oh, and just like in that story we shared earlier, let's keep our eyes open, because here comes another late-night ride request. Do you see her? A pale figure in outdated clothes standing at the side of the road. You pull over. She slips into your car, quiet as smoke. But before you reach her destination, a specific, ordinary house number, she's just gone. The door never opened. The car never stopped. Gone. It's a story told by modern cabbies and long-haul truckers, but this tale's lineage runs deep. Sailors once told of the Mare Mortuus, the dead rider, a spirit who hailed ferrymen to carry them across water. Payment was always left in strange coins, often vanishing by sunrise. And in Japanese folklore, the Kamikakushi spirits spirited away travelers mid-journey, leaving the guides completely adrift in a fog of confusion. Neuroscience offers a fascinating twist. In states of sleep deprivation, our brains can slip more easily into microdreams, fleeting, waking hallucinations triggered by pure fatigue. For late-night drivers, the low light and monotony prime the brain for pareidolia, the tendency to see human figures where none exist. And yet, what about the warm seat where she sat? The specific address that you can't forget? That's harder to write off as just a trick of the mind. Every culture has its passenger who never quite arrives. And every ghost ride reminds us that some journeys aren't meant to have an end. And what's that over there, in that window? Look closely. It's just a shadow, a silhouette framed by the curtain, a figure standing unnaturally still. We think of them as the Glimmer Man or the Faceless Watcher in urban legends. Now, all joking aside, there are also serious related concerns about stalkers that in no way should be downplayed. But the mythic silhouette framed in a window is as old as firelight itself. The Greeks told of Empusa, a shape-shifting spirit who appeared in the windows of those she hunted, sometimes in the guise of a neighbor. Norse sagas spoke of Draugr, revenants, or the restless dead, who would stand motionless outside homes, their stare alone a curse. They could be seen through the thin slits in the shutters, watching, always watching. From a psychological perspective, the power of this legend lies in our mirror neurons. When someone makes direct eye contact, or even appears to, your brain responds as if you're physically in their presence. It triggers a flood of autonomic responses. Your heart rate spikes, your alertness heightens, and your breath shifts. Your body prepares for a social interaction. even when your logical mind screams that it's impossible. So you can close the curtains all you want, but your mind will still conjure the watcher if it believes it has been seen. And that, my friend, is a terrifying feeling you can't just wish away. What's fascinating is that all three of these modern city phantoms, the smiling man, the phantom passenger, and the Stillness Watcher, trace back to the same root, a primal need for nighttime vigilance. Our ancestors didn't just sleep. They slept in shifts, kept watch, and told stories to encode survival lessons in ways the brain wouldn't forget. The names change, the settings change, but the brain still listens for footsteps that shouldn't be there, grins that linger too long, and eyes that shine where no one should be watching. What's over here? Let's wander now into some darker streets, the kind where the streetlights hum too loudly and shadows seem to follow you. If you're listening in the dark, maybe cuddle up a little tighter as we explore a few more myths that just may be more real than not. The night air by the river is heavy, damp, metallic. It carries a scent of sorrow and regret. You hear her before you see her, a wail stretched thin, like it's traveled too far to still be human. She cries, a heartbreaking call that chills you to the bone. Your skin prickles. The mist rolls in slow, wrapping around your ankles. You know what they say. That sound you swear is a cry. Your amygdala tags it danger before you can even breathe. But this time, the feeling is more than danger. It's grief. They say she was once a beautiful woman named Maria from a poor village in colonial Mexico. Her beauty was so profound that she was known throughout the land. But it was not enough for her. She was ambitious and longed for a life beyond her means. One day, a wealthy Spanish nobleman rode through her village and was instantly captivated by her. Maria and the man fell deeply in love, and they had 2 beautiful children. But his family despised her, and he eventually grew tired of her and their life together, taking another woman as his wife, a woman of his own class. One evening, Maria saw her husband riding through the village with his new wife. In a moment of heartbroken rage and despair, she went to the river where her children were playing. She dragged them both to the bank and drowned them. She stood there, watching their bodies drift away, and when the full weight of what she had done crashed down on her, she began to wail, crying so hard that her sorrow gave her a new name, La Llorona, the weeping woman. After that, she was seen no more, until her ghost began to walk the riverbanks at night, a long white dress stained with silt and mud of the river, endlessly searching. Locals say she drowned her children and herself long ago, cursed to walk the banks forever, searching for them, and then at last joining them in the flowing waters. Step too close, and she might mistake you for one of them, pull you under, binding you to her eternal watery torment. Her story is a chilling blend of profound maternal grief and a terrifying call for revenge. Hey, wait. Hold on there. I've got you. It's okay, I know. Your brain doesn't just hear a sound. It creates an entire story of dread and desire around it. Even modern psychologists admit Proximity to water at night amplifies the brain's fear circuits. That sound you swear is a cry? Your amygdala tags it danger before you can breathe. But your heart, that deep well of compassion tugs you toward the wailing figure. It's an ancient conflict, the whisper of terror versus the cry of help, and your soul is torn between them. Perhaps we should head away from the river, huh? Tokyo, late at night. The streets are empty, their neon glow muted by the slick, wet pavement. The only sound is the soft echo of your own shoes on the sidewalk. A woman steps into view. Her coat is long, a trench coat that seems to swallow the shadows around her. Her surgical mask covers the lower half of her face, a normal enough sight here in Japan, a sign of respect and concern for health. She tilts her head slightly as we pass, her hair long and black, falling like a curtain around her shoulders. Her eyes are dark, intense, and then she stops you. "Do you think I'm beautiful?" she asks, her voice a low, melodic whisper that feels strangely familiar. Your heart hammers against your ribs. You hesitate. You think of saying yes because, from what you can see, she is. But something in her posture, in the chilling stillness of her eyes, tells you this is not a compliment she's seeking. This is a test. This is a trap. You try to be kind to find a way out, but there is no way out. Say yes to her. And she slowly pulls the mask down, revealing her mouth sliced wide, a gruesome, bloody gash from ear to ear. And then she asks again with that grotesque new face, "What about now?" Say no to her from the very start, and she will cut your face in a similar fashion so that you look just like her. And the truly horrifying part? The legends disagree on what happens next. Some say she will kill you. Others say she will simply mutilate you. But none of the stories ever end well. The legend of Kuchisake Onna, the slit-mouthed woman, is a chilling masterpiece of psychological terror. It is said that she was once the beautiful but vain wife of a samurai. When she was caught in a moment of infidelity, her jealous husband, in a fit of rage, disfigured her with a sword. He carved a massive gash into her face and screamed, "Who will think you are beautiful now?" Before she bled out, her spirit forever trapped in that moment of agony. Today, the legend is a social pressure cooker. Your heart hammers not because you believe she's real, but because you can't predict her next move. The chilling unknown keeps your nervous system on high alert, every muscle ready to sprint. But your social conditioning, your need to be polite, to find the right answer, paralyzes you. It's a terrifying lesson in how some questions have no good answer, and some fears have no escape. So, how will you answer? Well, perhaps the best answer is no answer at all, and we should just keep walking. Wow, that's quite the fog here rolling in, and it is getting pretty late. The air is thick, wet, and cold, and the London street lamps cast eerie, fractured halos in the mist. The city's noise has faded to a low hum, and the silence feels heavier than the air itself. Suddenly, brakes screech. A red double-decker bus, a phantom of the London streets, bursts out of nowhere, its lights glaring too bright. too stark for the night. It's coming straight for you, its immense bulk seeming to swallow the very light and air. Instinct, a primal animal reflex, throws you to the curb, a moment of pure, blinding fear. But when you turn back, the road is empty. The fog is just fog. There are no tire tracks, no sound. The air is still, save for the hum of a distant city. Historians trace this legend back to the 1930s. A real bus route, a real bus number, and a series of real accidents that left people haunted by the memory. And perhaps the ghosts of real drivers who never stopped making their rounds. Even now, on a night with just the right fog, the human brain can conjure an entire phantom vehicle from the simple suggestion of light and sound. It's a waking nightmare of our own making. Or maybe not. And that is the most chilling question of all. The truth is, night changes us. Sounds travel differently. Shapes shift faster. Every creak, every shadow, every shift of air becomes a story we can't stop telling. Because the velvet gravity of the night changes the rules. In daylight, the brain is spoiled with detail, color, edges, distances you can measure with your eyes alone. But at night, your vision hands the job to the rods, cells great at detecting motion, but terrible at color and fine detail. You literally see less, so you predict more. And the brain hates a vacuum. It fills the dark with whatever pattern your history can supply. A scarf on a fence becomes a face wrapped with a mask. Steam becomes a figure. Too far lights sliding through fog become a bus that isn't there. Psychologists call this predictive coding. Your mind guesses first and checks later. In the dark, the guess gets louder, the check gets quieter. That's why a rustle becomes footsteps, why a drip becomes a whisper. Night is a collaboration between your senses and your stories. Physiology turns the volume up too. After dusk, melatonin rises and cortisol falls, softening your frontal brakes just enough to let emotion drive a little faster. Your built-in brain guardian, the amygdala, gets jumpier when input is uncertain. Add a splash of sleep pressure and a circadian dip around 3 to 4 a.m. Now, you've got the perfect recipe for high feeling plus low certainty. In that gap, legends bloom. Sound behaves strangely at night as well. Temperature inversions lay a cool lid over warm air, and audio travels farther, bending back toward the ground. A single clank from a rail yard a mile away can sound distressingly close. In forests, nocturnal acoustics turn branches into percussion. In cities, urban alleyways turn into canyons, bouncing sirens until they feel like they're hunting you block to block. Low frequencies, infrasound from wind through vents, distant machinery, or storm fronts, can stir the body without you consciously hearing a thing. A flutter in the gut, a chill on the skin, a sudden certainty you're not alone. And let's not forget the behavior of, or should I say, misbehavior of light at night. Under a full moon, shadows sharpen like knives and distances lie. Under sodium lamps, skin tones go gray and eyes go hollow. The phenomenon of autokinesis, a single light in darkness seeming to move. can turn a stationary beacon into a phantom vehicle, a hovering orb, a will-o'-the-wisp reborn from LEDs. Then there's the psychology of liminal time. After midnight, the social contract thins. Fewer witnesses, fewer norms, more quiet. The brain's social safety cues drop away, so uncertainty feels bigger. In ancient villages, this was the hour of hearth and hush. Stories whispered while embers crackled. In that setting, the mind learned to pair darkness with narrative. Forest nights taught Europe the leshy and the mare. Wetlands taught the world ghost lights, marsh gas and bioluminescence speaking in foxfire tongues. Sailors baptized St. Elmo's fire as omen and blessing. Desert nights wrote the ghoul on the edge of the caravan fire. The same conditions, different edges of the world, the same human need to make meaning from the unknown. Night also strips context, and context is how we decide what's safe. A woman in a surgical mask at noon reads as commuter. At 1 a.m., alone on a platform, the same image leans Kuchisake Anna. Urban legends are social tech built for this uncertainty. They carry rules. Don't walk the riverside alone. Don't follow the crying sound into the reeds. Don't accept rides from headlights that appear out of nowhere. Don't answer a question you don't understand. In the past, these rules kept kids away from culverts and canals. In cities, they keep you out of condemned buildings and off tracks in the fog. The story scares you. The rule saves you. Fear with a function. There's another engine, loneliness. Studies show nighttime isolation heightens vigilance. Your nervous system turns every anomaly into a potential threat. That's why legends recruit you personally. You hear the cry, you turn the corner, you see the bus. The tale climbs inside your sensory stream and rides it home. And the culture keeps the chorus going. Our modern campfires, the group chat, the midnight Reddit thread, the stitched video at 2:15 a.m. Anyone else hear that? Becomes community folklore in all hours of the early a.m. The old oral tradition hasn't died, it's sped up. The same cognitive biases, availability, confirmation, the brain's love of a clean arc, shape the digital myth as surely as they shaped the banshee keening at a thatched window. But let's be fair to the dark. It doesn't just magnify fear, it magnifies meaning. Take away details and symbols swell. That's why the river becomes mother and morning at once. Why fog becomes history condensed. Why footsteps behind you become a decision you haven't made yet. Night is a projector. It casts your inner life onto the world and asks, what do you see? If you've been anxious, you'll see pursuit. If you've been grieving, you'll hear a cry. If you've been avoiding a truth, you might meet it under a street lamp with no name. This is how the past keeps pace with us. The mare, that chest-riding phantom of medieval nights, becomes today's sleep paralysis intruder, mapped by neuroscience but felt the same in the body. The will-o'-the-wisp flits into dashcam orbs. The wild hunt finds a modern saddle in sirens that braid and unbraid down the boulevard. Even La Llorona wears headphones now. The river is an underpass. The mist, a curtain of steam from the city's breath. But the story still holds your wrist when you lean too far toward the edge. So yes, legends thrive at night because the night conspires with us. Reduced visibility, heightened senses, sounds that wander and return, light that lies, bodies tuned to ancient alarms, communities that pass along rules wrapped in chills, and beneath it all, a human brain that would rather have a monster it can picture than a void it can't name. But here's the other truth. The same darkness that grows a ghost can grow a guide. When you understand the mechanics, you can choose the meaning. You can feel your heart quicken and say, ah, rods, amygdala, temperature inversion, story. You can step back from the river and still honor the grief. You can hear the bus in the fog and choose the curb without choosing the panic. You can let the night be a mirror, not a trap. And now that we've walked those streets together, let's come back, out of the alleys, away from the water's edge, back to your room, your blanket, your breathing. I'll keep watch while you arrive. All right, friend. You've walked the mist, heard the whispers, and felt the weight of footsteps that may, or may not, have been there. Let's bring you back. Not all the way to daylight, but to a softer dark, a safer, encompassing dark. Close your eyes if you can, or let them rest heavy in their sockets. Feel the surface beneath you, chair, bed, sofa, holding you without question. Notice your breath without forcing it, just a slow tide in, a slow tide out. With every exhale, imagine the shadows pulling back, not disappearing, just stepping away, giving you room. The echo of chains in a hallway fades to the faint hum of your own space. The cold mist on your face becomes a coolness on your skin, clean, harmless, steady. Now picture a small, steady light somewhere in front of you. It could be a lantern on a windowsill, a candle in your palm, a street lamp outside your home. It doesn't need to chase away the night, just enough to make the dark gentle again. As you breathe, let that light warm you from the inside out. See how it makes space for the sound of your own heartbeat. For the feel of your fingers against one another. For the reminder that you are here in this moment, safe. You can visit the legends whenever you like, meet them on bridges, hear them in rivers, see them in fog. But they can't follow you here. This place is yours. One more deep breath in. Let it fill your ribs, your spine. And as you breathe out, let go of anything you carried from the streets and waters we wandered tonight. You made it back. The fire's still lit, and there's a place here for you any night you need it. Thank you for wandering the streets and shadows with me tonight. Urban legends live in the corners, under flickering lights, inside rusted stairwells, along rivers where the mist never quite lifts. But in the end, they also live in us, in the way our senses sharpen when the world goes quiet, and in the way a good story lingers long after the footsteps fade. If you felt a shiver tonight, or maybe remembered a story from your own city, I'd love to hear it. Share it with me. Who knows? It might just make its way into a future episode. It's been a privilege to guide you through another night on Dusk and Dreams. If this podcast helps you find peace, spark creativity, or simply offers a moment of captivating escape, please consider following or subscribing wherever you listen. Your support helps us build this community of night-minded souls. We're available on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Amazon, as well as many others. To learn more about the show or connect with me and the Dragons Dusk and Dreams team, visit our website at breakgrid.com or follow at Yarrow Diamond on Instagram. Next Tuesday, we swap the campfire tales for a bit of curiosity. We'll step into the nighttime lab, experiments in rest, testing habits, tools, and little changes to see what truly helps the body rest deeper. From playing with light and temperature to timing your caffeine like a pro, we'll tinker together, because your best night's sleep might just be one experiment away. And for next Friday, we've got 3 roads we could walk. One leads to ghost lights, those strange, floating orbs seen across cultures and centuries, sometimes guiding, sometimes warning, always mysterious. Another path descends into the nighttime in the afterlife, where myth and darkness intertwine in stories of death, rebirth, and the shadow journeys beyond. Or perhaps we could take the long way around, past crumbling halls and locked gates, into tales of haunted locations and their histories, a tour of places where the walls remember more than they should. Which road will we take? You'll know when you step into the night with me again. Until then, sleep softly, dream brighter, and remember, the night always listens back.